All right, it is the Braves Central podcast, a very joyous Braves Central podcast on this Monday because the Braves not only win back-to-back games for the first time, Chris Dimino, they sweep the Twins. And this finally feels like a Braves team that we kind of thought it would be coming out of spring training.
Yeah, look, you know me, I grade on a curve. For this team, 3 in a row is certainly better than anything they've done. Win the game against the Cardinals to start that series, and I'll look around and I'll call it a 4-game winning streak just to make everybody happy. If they become really good again, then 5 becomes the number to actually bonify a streak. Here's a couple of things about what happened this weekend. You won games in different styles, which is a really good sign. Your bullpen was really good consistently this weekend. And not that Minnesota was a great team coming in, but when you've struggled yourself, as we said, close to a mirror image, what do? You have more potential to hit home runs. They did that. You have bullpen guys you've paid as opposed to what Minnesota's done. They came in and did the job. And the idea that, quite honestly, we had seen Iglesias struggle a little bit and then convert the way that he did this weekend, I know that's sort of paragraph 5, but that might, at some point, and I don't think it's going to take very long, that story could get elevated up to the first paragraph because this team looks like it's going to play more games in the 1 and 2 run area right now than they will in that win by 5, lose by 5 area.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. So let's go back to this weekend and talk about a few big things that happened. I think one is Alex Verdugo. I don't know how long this is sustainable, but I think the important thing is that it doesn't have to be sustainable for very long. The spark he gave that team on Saturday, even Sunday, getting out of the gate strong, it feels like he's that right guy. He can get on base for some of these guys like Austin Riley and Matt Olson to sort of cure the runners in scoring position issue that has plagued this team for essentially the entire season. And I mean, even Friday, he hit 2 balls really, really hard. So I think Verdugo, he was the last best hope to me, right? This offense had struggled. It was a disaster. We needed 2-3 more weeks to bridge the gap between what we had. And then when Ronald comes back, getting Verdugo up, it's so far so good. How long is it sustainable? I don't know. But I also feel, and we talked about this with Snit on Friday, what kind of personality he brings. And he was asked in no uncertain terms by, I'm not going to name the reporter, but it was R-rated in terms of how he described Alex Verdugo. But that's the kind of guy he is. He's got that kind of Jock Peterson mentality to shake up a clubhouse in a good way. He's one of those guys where if you're on an opposing team, you hate him. But if he's on your team, you like him. And so far, so good, I think, for Verdugo.
So I brought up the Jock Peterson thing the other day, and everybody knows sort of what happened at that trade deadline in 2021 and how it certainly led to, I was going to say helped, but certainly led to the Braves winning the World Series. There is a difference between being a different cat and being a pain in the ass. And like eccentric and crazy, there's a fine line. The difference is what's in your bank account. But remember this, people will perceive you to be what it is they perceive you to be. You're not going to get along with everybody in a clubhouse if you're this type of guy. Now, here's the best news. You're getting a version of this guy who I think was embarrassed that he was sitting home all the way through March. Nobody offered this guy anything. Then it's $1.5 million, and we're going to make you go down there and prove that you're supposed to play up here. So maybe I'm getting a hacked-off version of Alex Verdugo. Maybe there's a little bit of maturity that comes with this could be taken away from you. What are you going to do about it? The expression is usually, guy plays like his hair is on fire. Yeah, but is he good? You can run around and start running, oh, look at me, I'm really fast or I hustle. But are you on base? Can you score runs? Do you move people over? Do you actually drive in runs? And the idea that you found a leadoff hitter for $1.5 million, and I'm not, listen, this is 3 games. I have no idea what the guy's going to do. I know it's his spot for now until somebody says, well, no, he's not really good at this. But I have a version of this guy. He's Luke Combs. He's baby Luke Combs. I don't even understand the beard. Like, to tell you the truth, that's a little bit strange to me. I've seen Alex Verdugo, the Yankee version of him that had no facial hair. He showed up, and I was like, that's Alex Verdugo?
That's not you.
I'm not
Who
even kidding.
You?
Like, if they would have lined him up, he would have had to turn around and have me see the back of the jersey to know that it was Alex Verdugo. But maybe he's going to play a little bit looser, a little bit lighter, a little bit angrier, a little bit, I'll show you. You know what's really good? It's better than sitting at home being a major leaguer. And if he plays well this year, he's Now, he's performing for 30 teams, the Braves included right now. So we'll see. He's got an opportunity because he's in the big leagues to extend a big league career, get more paychecks. He's been a good player. Not been a great player. He's not been a terrible player. He's been a good player. If he's a good player here, that's an upgrade from what they had. So the weekend went really well. You know, the Michael Harris, I told you coming in Saturday, I was there for extended BP, and I knew that I could just see him launching baseballs. We talked about it extensively. He was launching baseballs. And I haven't seen a BP guy launch baseballs in a long time because nobody cares if you hit home runs in BP. Unless you're having fun and having a game and you're really taking your last hack to see who could hit the ball the farthest. And that is something that still gets done because you got to keep it a little bit loose. But I saw Michael Harris swing after swing, knocking balls into the chop house. I said, oh, he's working. He's working on a launch. And then all of a sudden, Saturday night, he did it. And it doesn't mean it's going to transfer every night, but it does mean that he was working on something. So to see him get off that way, to see that was different. You know, it took the Braves 19 games to win a game like they did this weekend, 5 runs in the 8th inning. It took Saturday to extend to make sure that you didn't, like the Marlins game where you won 10-0 and lost 4-0, that you didn't give all the goodwill back, but more importantly, you didn't give the game itself back. You won Saturday, you win Sunday. Bullpen was really good. You had enough with runners in scoring position a couple of times this weekend. You go, okay, that's more in line with what a 90-win baseball team can do and will do more often than not.
Yeah, and I think with Harris, you know, maybe if you're connecting some dots a little bit, he moved from the leadoff spot to 6th or 7th, and maybe he took those swings in batting practice because he is in more of a run-producing spot. So there are a lot of different things that I think helped him, and we saw him steal a base yesterday too, which is big as well. That's a big part of his game. So part of the story this past weekend was on/off the field with Jared Kelenic pimping a 365-foot double or single that should have turned into a double. And then Ronald Acuña's tweet, which happened right before, or actually right during the Ford leadoff show on Sunday. And then it got deleted also at the end for the Ford leadoff show, saying that there's a little bit of a double standard and that he would have benched for pimping a 365-foot single off the wall. We don't know if that's true or not. Everyone has an opinion on that. Whether they believe it is true or isn't true, that's not really up for anybody to decide. What is important is that the conversation happened, the tweet happened, that there's at least one person in that clubhouse, or that will be in that clubhouse, in Ronald Acuña Jr., that, at least according to his own actions, or at least his fingers on a cell phone on Twitter, believe that there is a double standard. I don't like the way it was handled on the Braves side. If Snit didn't know about it Saturday when he was asked about it, he should have known about it, whether it be from his coaching staff or one of his players who saw it, or an iPad when, you know, you're studying, a film between at bat, or whatever, anything. He should have known about it when he was asked about it on Saturday. And if that was the case, and if that whole thing would not have happened.
All right, there's a lot to unpack. How about we just start with maybe everybody has a problem with this. Maybe everybody's at fault. I have told people in my life, just because you type, it doesn't mean you hit send. Some people need to count to 10. Some need to count to 100. Some people need to count till tomorrow. And I've known people like that. And the people that I know and care about, I've told them, count till tomorrow. It'll be there tomorrow if you want to send it. I think probably there's that moment where you heard Brian Snitker, not taking a guy out. And look, this all started because somebody asked Mark Bowman a question on Twitter. Just let's get the context down. Yeah. Somebody asked Mark Bowman a question. What did Brian Snitker say about Kelenic not running it out? Mark Bowman then puts the quote from Snitker. And then Ronald Acuña sees that. Now, I don't know if he's still in California or not. I don't know if he's actually doing his rehab there. But it would have been about 9:05 in the morning because it said 12:05 when we finally read it here. And I don't care about the leading and everything else. You do what you think you got to do at that point. I will tell you, I think Brian Snitker should have actually hopped on Jared Kelenic on Sunday. I think he should have. Yeah, to me, this thing all gets settled. If he would have said, hey, I didn't see it, but believe me, Jared Kelenic had some apologizing to do, not to me, but to his teammates. That would have been a little bit more consistent about teammate thing. And, I joke about it, but I got 10 commandments of being a good teammate. I got 10 commandments in sports, and a couple of them flat out say be a good teammate. You're not good enough. There was a guy named Keith Armstrong. He was a special teams coach for the Atlanta Falcons. And there was a moment on Hard Knocks when he's in a special teams meeting. And Keith Armstrong's line was, you ain't good enough to be an asshole. And that was one of those where you just go, oh, wait, What that means is you're not doing something that you need to do because you're not one of the guys who doesn't have to do that. You have to prove your worth all the time. And if you don't think that you have to, you're wrong. Jared Kelenic isn't. Is he expendable? Absolutely. Is Jared Kelenic the type of guy you could send away? Absolutely. Is Jared Kelenic one of those guys that probably really did mean it when he apologized to all parties? Yeah, probably, because for a few reasons. I'd like to think that's who he is as a teammate. My bad. And I got to get in front of everybody and say, my bad, that won't happen again. The problem comes, Ronald admits it. There's a Players Tribune article that, he talked about his upbringing and his career. It's a longer article, but he says it happened a couple of times in 2019, and we're going back to a 2019 game where he was pulled out in the middle of the game against the Dodgers. I can tell you there was a day off the next day. He started on August 20th against the Marlins. He got pulled out of a game. There was a day off, and he started the next game. This wasn't an overdrawn, overly long thing. He wasn't sat down for games the way that some people are trying to make it sound, but he was made an example of. He said, literally that night, I respect the decision. I understand. He also admitted it happened a couple of times in 2019. Now, he wrote this in 2024, and he said, I would like to think, and I believe I'm right, that this has not happened again. Lesson learned. I think he was in his feelings. I think he hasn't played baseball. If it was 9:05 in California, he didn't have his breakfast yet. Whatever it is, he felt that way. He really felt that way, and he has a reason to because the history involved him. He wasn't commenting on something else. He was talking about his experience. I have no problem. I don't think I would have put it out if I was with him. I would have said, hey, man, this is a text thing. This is a group text thing. This is the type of thing you text with your buddies. This mother, you do that type of thing because we all do that type of thing. I would not have hit send. Once he did hit send, if he wants to answer to it or not, Brian Snitker needs to talk to Ronald Acuña about it. I'd like it to be face-to-face. I don't know when that's possible. If he needs to call him and they settle it that way, great. But at the end of the day, Ronald Acuña felt it. He typed it. He sent it. Jared Kelenic screwed up big. It turns out to be, as we said, a one-run game. You got lucky you won, or else this would be even bigger. Yeah. I just think Brian Snitker yesterday should have said, I ripped him a new one. He apologized to his teammates. We're going to move on. We're not good enough to have anybody on this team, Matt Olson, Austin Riley, or anybody not do everything you need to do to win a baseball game. Jared Kelenic now knows that, which basically tells you you're on double secret probation, but the world knows about it. You can't do it again. You're not good enough to do it initially. You certainly can't afford to do it again.
Yeah, and I think that it could have been easily solved even if, the information wasn't conveyed Saturday night, because what Snit said and what Kelenic said is that Sunday morning, Kelenic went into Snit's office and apologized and all that stuff. I think this also could have been easily resolved if Kelenic didn't start on Sunday.
I got to tell you something.
Very easy.
I'm not speaking for Brian Snitker. Me personally, if I had seen it, or even somebody told me, hey, he got popped at second because he didn't get out of the box. Wait, let me see that. I would have pulled him. I mean, I would have pulled him. I not because I did it to Ronald Acuña or Marcell Ozuna. I would have pulled him because, hey, we're not in the territory. We're not in the land of anything we want goes around here. Don't worry, we'll find a way to win. That has not been the case this year. I want consistency in that regard, but I'm also going to tell you the Braves were a good team in 19. They're not a very good team right now.
Not a good team
Jared
right now.
Kelenic, to me, the sin is even worse. They're the same, but it's worse because of circumstances. That's August. That's you're a good team. You're playing against a good team. Terrible move by Acuña not running it out. This one is worse. And all it would have taken is, hey, Jared Kelenic knows we ain't in that business around here, because I've said it before and Snit is on record. You better be a better teammate than that. That's being a bad teammate. I live really hard by that one. He would have sat, and by the way, I don't know if I could afford to sit him on Sunday. Again, like Ronald, he started that next game. Saturday night, had I seen it, I would have pulled him out. If I was going to start him on Sunday, I'm starting him Sunday anyway, but he would have stood in front of his teammates and said, my bad. My bad. He wouldn't have needed me as a manager to do it. If he's really anything as a player, he would have done it himself.
Yeah, and I believe that Jared Kelenic, after all of this, I believe that he walked into Snit's office. I believe that, we saw it. We talked to him about it on Sunday, that he owned up to it. It was a mistake, and it shouldn't have happened, and he's not in a position for a lot of different reasons to do that. So as far as we're concerned right now, it's done until Ronald and Snit talk. We don't know if that's already happened. Or until Ronald
says something else, whether he says, hey, man, I shouldn't have sent it. I pulled it for this reason. Here's what I was feeling. I'm okay with a guy who's been sitting with a busted up knee, getting in his feelings. I really am. I swear to you, I am. I'm more on the side of I believe he believes that he would have been pulled had he been a younger player. I can also tell you that I don't think Ronald Acuña, here's the other part, I don't think he would have done it in 2025. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have a lapse and you could think, oh, I got that one and be wrong. I'd like to think that Ronald Acuña really isn't in the position these days to actually go, oh, wait, I'm going to jake this thing down to first base. Jerry Kelenic was wrong. Big time wrong. All capital letters wrong. You're not, this team is not good enough to actually be thinking that's something that's supposed to be in your repertoire. We'll find out. For me, it's done for now until either Ronald Acuña says something, Snit says something, Alex Anthopoulos says something. My bigger problem, here's the teammate thing. I have a problem when a guy's not around, and now Ronald's literally, figuratively, and literally not around. I have a problem when somebody walks up to one guy and says, hey, tell me about him. Here's my response if I'm an athlete. Don't ask me about him. He's right there. Go ask him about him. Ronald's not here. I don't know if they're going to – my guess is today somebody's going to be asked. Multiple players are going to be asked about this. I hope everybody's mature enough to say, hey, man, it's over. We're a baseball team trying to figure out ways to win. I look forward to Ronald coming back. If he wants to talk about it, if he feels that way, I'm certainly here to talk to him about it. If he wants to pick up the phone and call me, I'll talk to him about it this way as well.
Yeah. So moving forward to this week, we do have the Cardinals coming in. Obviously, the 3-game, you won't call it a winning streak, but 3 wins in a row is certainly helpful going into a Cardinal series against a Cardinals team that, quite frankly, isn't very good. The pitching matchup tonight favors the Braves with Schwellenbach going. But overall, I think to me, you couldn't ask for a better situation now that we know, now that the Braves have sort of figured out their identity, at least for the short term.
No, look, Minnesota and the Cardinals had every right last week, starting on Thursday, to go, hey, we're getting the Braves.
Catching the Braves right.
Yeah, because we're the same teams in a lot of ways. I think Ali Marmol's in trouble. John Mozeliak, the guy who's been a general manager there a while, he's already announced he's stepping down after this. I saw the attendance for a couple of Cardinals games this year. It has not been good. The natives are more than restless because they feel that this team is underachieved, underspent, in putting it together with an Arenado and Goldschmidt, where it felt like, wow, okay, we've certainly got the middle of the lineup that can take us to the postseason. That didn't work. Goldschmidt's gone now. I think there's a lot of unrest in St. Louis, and that's a them problem, not a me problem. It's not a Braves problem. But I do think it is, if you're going to cherry pick what type of team to come in, this would be a team, if I feel good about myself, like you did with Minnesota, they'll help you. They'll find a way to actually maybe give you a couple of extra outs. They'll find a way to actually run themselves out of something. Kick them in the ass, knock them out the door, send them away, and then get ready to go on the road.
And this is the first time all year where I've actually felt like that was a legit possibility, which is just a nice feeling to have. It just feels good.
Yeah, because you won the game with the 5 runs in the 8. You won a game by holding on with your bullpen. You did things this weekend that these boxes all should have been checked before the 19th and 20th and 21st game. These things should have all been done already. That 5-run 8th, that hadn't been done already. Having Iglesias come in multiple times over the course of a few days, shut it down, that hadn't been done so far this year. So, yeah, how about this? They're in a lane that feels better than I go to the left, I lose. I go to the right, I win. I go to the left, I lose. I go to the right, I win. Maybe that's the thing, that they're on a path now that says we now have a capability in our arsenal. We have a way to win baseball games again.
Yep. So hopefully that happens this weekend. We're going to do this twice a week-ish, depending on how the series work out. But look for Braves Central to come your way. Essentially when the opponents change before and after each series. So hope you will tune in for that. Don't forget to subscribe, review, all that fun stuff that you're supposed to do if you like podcasts. And we know you do because you are listening or watching right now. So he's Chris Dimino. I'm Barrett Sallee. Thank you for listening or watching Braves Central. Go Braves. We'll talk to you soon.